Yeah.
Okay, so we can start now. Let's give me 2 minutes. I will introduce our first. Chắc là em xin phép được bắt đầu cái sự kiện ngày hôm nay luôn để anh chị không phải đợi chờ lâu nữa. Trước hết thì em xin giới thiệu em là Jimmy, đại diện công ty NHÂN Migration Consulting tại Việt Nam. Thì trước hết là em thay mặt toàn thể công ty sẽ gửi cái lời cảm ơn chân thành nhất tới anh chị đã dành thời gian để tham dự sự kiện cùng với NHÂN ngày hôm nay. Thì hy vọng những thông tin mà Willy chia sẻ ngày hôm nay á, nó sẽ mang lại những cái thông tin rất là hữu ích và có được một cái gì đó để anh chị có được cái quyết định đúng đắn cho cái lộ trình định cư trong tương lai của gia đình mình. Willy, you can start now.
Yeah, I need to share my screen. Is that okay?
Yep.
Okay.
I
Yeah. Okay, fine. You can see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay, thank you everyone for your time today. My name is Willy. I am the director of NHÂN Migration Consulting. As Jimmy was saying, of course, our firm is well established, for 14 years actually right now. We opened our office in Vietnam last year, about, early start of last year, just as COVID was getting better in that sense. Really because Vietnam is a key market that we want to serve, whether it be for skill migration, which we see definitely, a lot of key talent in IT and engineering and whatsoever, so I think IT skill migration, also business migration, right? Something that is a key market for Vietnam as well. I mean, for our firm, myself and John, we are both licensed for Australia, right? We are both licensed for Australia. I mean, that's very important, I think. When you are navigating and considering migration to Australia or even Canada, we also have our firm being well established. We are actually, our core product is Australia and Canada. So me and John are licensed for Australia. We also have our in-house consultant for Canada as well. But for Australia, I think it's very important for all of you also when you are navigating, for Australia or in any other kind of countries, always look at, if the agent is licensed, right? So for Australia, it's our governing body is MARA, Migration Agents Registration Authority. So here you can see the Australian government, who, if you're dealing with the person that is actually licensed, right? So, one of the main reasons why we are in Vietnam is because there are so few licensed migration agents in Vietnam. You see, ourselves, myself, Willy, and John, we are 2 of 4, right? I mean, that to us is that's amazing. That we are 2 of 4 licensed, licensed immigration agents in Vietnam. So, in that sense, that this is why we are focusing on the Vietnam market, and the reason why we think it's a good opportunity for us to serve the market in Vietnam. So, we are 2 here. I think also is, is being a licensed agent ourselves, we manage all the processing work internally, right? So whether that be, everything that is done, all the cases that we do ourselves. So right now, even in Vietnam, we have around an office of 10 staff. In Hong Kong, around 25. So we focus very much on doing all the work ourselves. We do not outsource to any third-party agents. Okay, we do everything ourselves under our supervision. Okay, so that in itself, we've, throughout so many years, the 14 years of operation, we've, and what we offer is our experience in cases, right? So very much so in handling cases, especially here for skill migration, handling cases of, IT professionals, right? Or engineering professionals, because, it's actually very specific. When you find this is kind of interesting. When you find an agent or a Mara lawyer or an agent, whatever, in Australia, they may not actually have the experience of dealing with offshore applications. So 189, 190 is actually offshore applications, right? So in that, we'll go through the visa classes anyway. So it's actually very specific in terms of the visa class, onshore, offshore, and then specifically which occupation code, right? Which profession code, and whether that, the agent actually has the experience specifically for your case, right? So that is actually very important, right, in that sense. And of course, just being in the market and serving kind of the Australian migration program so many years, we have a very well established program of assisting settlement as well. So whether that be with education, whether that be medical, whether that be real estate, we can also offer advice and services to help your family settle in whichever states. Okay. So that's very much so, our introduction to our company and, and our services. I guess, Jimmy is in Ho Chi Minh, with his team. So there we're very much serving the local market there, right? So myself and John, we take turns traveling to Vietnam. I mean, John is there at the end of this month, right? Yeah, at the end of this month. So, we can always meet in person. If when you are ready, so to go through your case specifically, right? So that's also an advantage of us because we can see each other ourselves. This year has been a massive focus on skill migration, right? You see, here 189 and 190. So 189 here, skilled independence, the quota going up from 6,500 to 32,000, fourfold, nearly 400%. The skilled nominated from states, right? This is 190,491, going up from 22,000 to 65,000. Again, here, the increase of close to 200%. Because the labor market is actually, so there are two parties in terms of government, the Labour Party and the Liberal Party. This year, the Labour Party took control and, really kind of, shook up the market and focused very heavily on skill. So if you are, if you're a professional, and you're, like from a points-based perspective, you qualify, this is the year to do it. And because there's a big focus on skill migration, okay, with the quota, the invitation marks a bit lower than before. So really, take the opportunity to when it's time to do it, right? We said here, firstly is, we always look at your occupation, we calculate your points, right? And then we discuss with you which visa applies to you, right? Based on your occupation code, which skill assessment body applies to you, and then which state option you have, right? So of course, 189 is the highest status. It's a direct PR program, live in any state. Then you have the 190 and then the 491. Okay, so that's the other options that we'll discuss with you based on your occupation code. Okay, really here we need people who are under 45 years old and all band 6. This is a must, right? Must is under 45 years old and all band 6. I think hopefully, hopefully we have, as we are gathering interest, we made that clear that we need talent. Hopefully everyone listening here is at that level of all band 6 and under 45 years old. So we'll start assessing your case. You think about why Australia. Australia is, hugely, got a huge skill shortage, right? Huge skill shortage. That is publicly very available, that There is, you know, like if you look online, you know, like skill shortage, you know, like, you know, suffering. You can see, you can, you know, if you, you know, and you should, I'm sure everyone listening here are professionals. Have a look at the job market in Australia. Huge skill shortage, right? Thousands of vacancies, right? So you can always look IT salary in Australia. You can see here, IT salary in Australia. The average IT salary in Australia is $100,000 AUD. That is the average salary, right? Even as a graduate, you know, the average for a graduate, no experience, IT is 69,000. You know, hopefully there is a motivation for you if you are in Vietnam working for a multinational company. Hopefully there is a motivation for you to, you know, think, wow, you know, like maybe this is, I don't know, hopefully this is a lot more than what you are on Vietnam, but also other benefits of, you know, your kids, you know, you're really giving a pathway for your kids to have a Western education for free, right? Very much so, right? Very much so. Even if you look at jobs, you know, jobs in Australia, it's all mainly in seek.com, right? Seek.com. So if you, I don't know, if you're like a programmer, you know, I don't know, programmer, development programmer, let's just say in Sydney. Whoops. You can see here, or senior software developer 120, you know, or like, you know, a developer programmer, you know, 80 to 100, you know, 100 to 140, whatever, right? Whatever this is. But when you see a job like this, you know, Java developer, you know, very average. If you are overseas, if you're in Vietnam right now and you qualify for this job, if you apply to them, the first question they ask is, do you have a visa? Can you work in Australia? That is the first question they will ask, because they want someone to work now, right? Right now. So the pathway that we are offering here is, because you qualify for, you know, skill migration, apply in Vietnam, continue to wait in Vietnam, right? Continue to wait in Vietnam. The whole process will take less than 1 year, okay? Definitely less than 1 year. So wait in Vietnam, get, you know, of course, we'll discuss with you case by case on your case, you know, how you are from a points perspective, you know, what your chances from a points perspective. But the whole strategy is to apply the visa, have the status, have the visa, and then apply for a job. And then when you apply for the job, there's so many jobs, right? Even programmer, you can see, let's see, there's like 400 jobs in Sydney on programmer, just the word development programmer, right? If we say, you know, I don't know, like business analyst, like, let's have a look, business analyst. I get, well, wow, 4,000 jobs, you know, like, so in that sense, business analyst, you know, whatever, like there's so many jobs in Australia. But then the thing is, you have the visa, apply offline. I'm sure a lot of these companies can do Zoom meeting, you know, or Zoom interviews. And then you say, yeah, I have a visa to live in Australia, to work in Australia. And then you get your job and you go over there and your job is secure, you know. So I think, you know, something like that we see happen, you know, where I am in Hong Kong, you know, Singapore, India, you know, definitely this is how people are going to Australia. Like if you're a young professional, you know, apply, get your visa, look for a job online, secure the job offer, so you can go to Australia with a very secure job offer, and then you start your life in Australia, and your kids go to school for free, right? Like that's I mean, that sounds simple, but that's the, you know, like Australia and Canada are hugely short of talent, and definitely this is one pathway which you should take advantage of. Okay. So 45 years old, under, and all band 6. I mean, the process we can go through is, you know, you send your resume to Jimmy and his team. We will assess the points where you are at. We'll let you know which state, which program you're eligible for, and then we have a meeting with you. Once you choose to start with us, we will do the skill assessments. You will need to take the IELTS exam, and then we will then put in the expression of interest. Okay. And then likewise, then, you know, we will talk to you. And the key thing is we need the invitation to apply. That is the key. If you're invited to apply, and this is purely based on your points. So it's actually a very open conversation about what your chances are, right? And how you can help yourself to increase your chance, right? So if you are invited to apply the visa, the rest is just administrative process. Okay. So nevertheless, you know, start with giving your CV to Jimmy and his team to start to kick off the process. We, you know, like the assessment is free, meeting us is free. We just want to, you know, try to find good candidates for this program. Okay. Definitely, we encourage you to do that. I mean, these are just some points where people are being invited around the 85 mark points, and different states with different occupations, right? Different occupations. I mean, you see so many occupation codes, you know, like ICT, all these ICT, all the network kind of software engineers and you know, software developers, blah, blah, blah. So many different types of professionals that Australia needs. Okay. Points table, we can go through this with you, you know, one-on-one. Age is one factor. Your English level is a factor, but English has to be all band 6, has to be. Age has to be under 45, okay? And then we'll look at your experience. We then look at your education level. We look at, you know, other factors as well. A partner, you know, also very important, like whether you're married. If you're married, your spouse, like your partner, can he or she also pass get all band 6 English? Can he or she also do a skill assessment? That will affect the points table. You know, very much so. You know, there are so many different states. You know, so many different states. What happens is 189 allows you to live in all states. Any states. You get the visa, you can go any state you like, right? So of course, then you may go online to find a job first and decide where to live. 190491, you will need a state to nominate you or give you sponsorship. Then that means that you will then need to stay in that state for at least 2 years, right? For 4913 years. So it's okay. I mean, in that sense, you know, whichever state needs you, like IT or engineers, or, you know, like there's always a job in any of these states, right? So I mean, you know, again, like it's so simple to just search, right? Like this was Sydney, but even if you had to go to Brisbane, you know, you just Brisbane and you search, you know, again, 2,000 jobs, or you go Adelaide, you know, then that's probably another state, you know, therefore 500 jobs. So different states, different cities, there's always jobs available in that sense, right? You see, you know, and maybe living in a smaller city, not Sydney, not Melbourne, may be better as well, because of course the cost of living in Sydney now is very high actually. So maybe living in a smaller city, having more space, you know, is you know, that's also some factors that people consider. Okay. Yeah, so you know, when you apply for 190, you actually get an extra 5 points. When you apply for 491, you get an extra 15 points. So here, you know, it's just different kind of metrics for the points calculation. For 491, as I said, you know, you actually must live in the in that designated regional area for more than 3 years, right? It's a temporary visa. And I think here it's just different, you know, different states have different requirements, right? So I probably won't go through different states every time, one by one. Okay. I mean, feel free now to type in any questions that you may have in the text box. We can answer a bit later, okay? feel free to type in any questions, and Jimmy and I will answer all the questions. I want to go through another visa before we answer the questions, but feel free to type in advance. So we talked about before just now, skill program, which is points-based, 189, 190, 491. There's another program which is very much focused on IT. It's called the Global Talent Program, okay? So likewise here, this is not no points. There's no points involved here. What happens here is they want to target these 10 sectors, you know, Digitech, of course, being one of them. You know, there's going to be, you know, but here, I guess it's different in the sense that this program is looking for maybe a bit higher people. So maybe like middle management, senior management people, right? Who, you know, if it's older than 45, it's okay. It's actually under 55, okay? Mainly under 55. So even if you're above 45 years old, GTI can be a program that is something to consider, right? And English is not a factor because you can, even if you don't take the IELTS test, you can still go through this program, okay? But here they're looking, as I said, higher level people. So here they're saying they want people that can attract a salary of 160,000 AUD, attract a salary. You may not need to be on this salary, but attract a salary, okay? But, you know, you saw the average salary of IT is 100,000 in AUD, but here it's looking at higher. So definitely people who are a bit more senior management. But nevertheless, this is a direct PR program, live anywhere in Australia, free education for your kids, you know, no investments, you know, whatsoever. And here is just really our experience of putting a file together to best present your profile and your achievements to the Australian government for consideration. You know, like we've done a few of these now in Vietnam, and we're lucky to say that we've had a success case. You know, we did, you know, and very pleasantly surprised. There are very good talents in Vietnam for, you know, Digitech, the tech sector. You know, so when we go to Digitech, and so that's something that we can discuss kind of more on a one-on-one basis. You know, the program actually says at a lower level what type of candidates they are looking for. Okay, so say for instance here, the sector Digitech, they're actually looking for people who specialize in these areas in Digitech. You know, whether it be, you know, things that are in demand, right? Data science, big data, blockchain, cloud computing, 5G, cybersecurity. Things a bit more specific now, not just your generalized ICT project manager or ICT business analyst. This is a much more specialized knowledge that they're looking at for GTI. Okay, so nevertheless, if you're an IT professional, no matter what age you're at, you know, if you're younger, then maybe the points program. If you're a bit older and more senior, maybe it's GTI. But definitely the message is, you know, Australia, you know, of course, Australia actually has many options for IT professionals. And we are, you know, you saw 2 out of 4 registered licensed agents in Australia, in Vietnam that can help you. We have an office in Ho Chi Minh. You can actually meet us, you know, whether me and John, we rotate to come to Vietnam, you know, we can meet you and discuss with you and how we can help you move your family to Australia. So with that, maybe I'll pause, and then, you know, we're happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Willie. Anh chị ơi, chắc là phần trình bày của Willie đến đây là kết thúc. Thì Willie muốn dành nhiều thời gian để tương tác với anh chị và trả lời hết tất cả những thắc mắc của anh chị đó. Thì trong cái quá trình mà vừa rồi Willie trình bày thì có thông tin nào mà không rõ ràng anh chị cần hỏi lại thì anh chị có thể hỏi lại Willie. Hiện tại thì em có thấy trên box chat có câu hỏi của chị Quỳnh là tự làm chủ doanh nghiệp có thể làm được skill assessment không? Người giáo viên có đi được diện visa này không? Willie, there's one question about the self-employed. Can they apply for that skill visa?
You can, but we will just need to work with you to see how you meet the job description of the occupation. So we may need reference letters from your suppliers, customers, whatsoever. We've done that before. So we need to work with you on a case-by-case basis.
Chị Quỳnh ơi, thực ra là cái diện mà làm chủ doanh nghiệp đó, thì hoàn toàn có thể là nộp đơn theo cái diện này được, nhưng mà để tư vấn cụ thể thì Willy cần gặp gỡ chị để có thể là nghe chị chia sẻ hết về những cái công việc, về cái job description đó, và cần phải có một cái reference letter từ, nói chung là các cái đối tác, những cái đơn vị mà supplier mà công ty chị đang hợp tác làm ăn đó, để họ xác nhận. Another question about the teacher. Can they apply for the skill Australia?
For teachers?
Yep.
Teachers, of course you can. However, it's a bit harder. It's all band 7 for English minimum, right? So the English level, because of course you'll be teaching English, so it's higher to do the skills assessment for a teacher. It's all band 7.
Ngành giáo viên cũng là một ngành mà đang được ưu tiên mà cần nhân sự ở bên Úc, thì nhưng mà đối với các cái điều kiện để nộp cho cái ngành giáo viên đó, thì yêu cầu tiếng Anh là IELTS tối thiểu là 7 chấm cho tất cả các cái kỹ năng. Còn riêng ngành IT thì mình chỉ cần là các kỹ năng là trên 6 thôi. As for the customer, Mr. Nghĩa ask you a question about the customer service manager opportunity.
Yeah, I think we need to see what type of customer service manager you are. Yeah, like there is occupation code for customer service, but we need to see what type of work you're doing.
Okay. Actually, I already received Mr. Nghi's CV this afternoon.
Yeah,
so
we can discuss later. Yeah, it's fine.
There's one more question about from Mr. Hoàng Tâm. When do I need to submit my IELTS result?
You need it. The skill assessment depends on your occupation, but if you're IT professional, you only need it at time of the expression of interest. So you have a few months, right? So we can start on the skill assessment first. Yes, because the skill assessment is going to take 3 months processing. So you can, whilst the skill assessment is processing, you can take the IELTS test. But I need you to be confident that you are all band 6.
Em chia sẻ luôn là cái chứng chỉ IELTS của mình á, thì mình không cần phải nộp ngay từ cái thời điểm ban đầu khi mình bắt đầu làm hồ sơ, tại vì mình sẽ phải mất một cái khoảng thời gian để làm skill assessment, nó đâu đó tầm khoảng 3 đến 4 tháng. Thì trong cái thời gian đó mình có thể là mình luyện thi IELTS và thi lấy cái chứng chỉ IELTS cũng được, chứ mình không cần phải nộp ngay thời điểm ban đầu. Còn anh Nghĩa ơi, em xin trả lời luôn là cái ngành nghề mà Customer Service Manager á, thì hôm nay em đã nhận được cái CV của anh, thì em đã gửi cho Willy, thì Willy sẽ coi cái CV đó và sẽ phản hồi lại anh trong đầu tuần nhé.
Yeah, there is. I saw the question about IT support. There is an IT support. Yes, there is. ICT support is part of it.
Dạ, thì em tại vì em không thấy được tên của anh Wom Dinh, thì cái ngành IT support á, nó có trong cái ngành trong cái danh sách những ngành nghề lĩnh vực Úc họ đang ưu tiên để cần nhân sự, nên nếu mà anh làm trong cái lĩnh vực IT support thì hoàn toàn có thể nộp hồ sơ được. Cảm ơn anh Nghĩa. Không biết là các anh chị còn có câu hỏi nào cho Willy nữa không ạ? What about PT for IT? One more question from Mẫn Nguyễn. What about the BTE for IT?
Sorry, what about what? Sorry.
I think he asked about the BTE test.
What's the BTE test? Sorry, I don't understand.
IELTS, the English test.
Oh, PTE. Yeah, you can do PTE. Equivalent PTE. Equivalent. Yep. Yes. Yeah. Like you can always look at the equivalent IELTS. There's a conversion table between IELTS and PTE, as long as it's the equivalent.
Mình hoàn toàn
Yeah,
có
then
thể
you go online, you can see there's a conversion table, but it has to be all band. Yeah.
mình hoàn toàn có thể sử dụng cái chứng chỉ PTE để thay thế cho chứng chỉ IELTS được anh chị nhé. Em vẫn đang đợi xem anh chị có thêm câu hỏi gì cho Willy hay không. Như Willy chia sẻ lúc đầu đó thì để mà biết được anh chị hiện tại những cái ngành nghề anh chị đang làm á, nó có phù hợp cho cái diện visa tay nghề này hay không, thì Willy rất mong muốn anh chị gửi cho bên NHÂN một cái CV đầy đủ thông tin của những cái ngành nghề mà anh chị, những công việc mà anh chị đã làm từ trước đến giờ đó. Rồi học thuật, bằng cấp, thì cho nhân viên của NHÂN thì Willy sẽ đánh giá dựa trên cái đó, làm cái initial assessment để tính thêm thang điểm di trú hiện tại là với cái profile của anh chị là được bao nhiêu điểm di trú, và cái ngành nghề đó nó có phù hợp để nộp cho diện tay nghề hay không. Thì nếu mà ok thì sau đó thì Willy sẽ hẹn gặp anh chị để có thể tư vấn kỹ hơn, hoặc là có được những cái chiến lược nào đó để mình có thể làm tăng được cái điểm di trú. There's another question. She was born in 1984. She already sent the degree, 10-year experience in sales, 7-year experience in like the business owner. And is that qualified for skill visa? I think
I mean, we need to see a CV. Like, we need to find which years you have, and we need to find a appropriate occupation code which aligns to your experience. So we need to see a CV.
Không biết là anh hay chị Chi Phan thì em mà chắc là các bạn sẽ nhận được cái thông tin của anh chị rồi, thì các bạn sẽ gửi qua bên Willy, và Willy cần phải xem lại cái thông tin của anh chị về cái số năm mà kinh nghiệm anh chị đã làm trong sale từ năm nào đến năm nào, và quan trọng là trong cái thời gian đó anh chị làm cái công việc đó thì cái job description của mình nó có matching với lại những cái ngành nghề mà bên Úc họ đưa ra hay không. Thì lúc Willy cần phải nhìn vô chi tiết trong cái CV đó để có thể đánh giá. Thì chắc là nếu mà anh chị đã gửi cái thông tin cho các bạn chuyên viên tư vấn rồi á, thì Willy sẽ có thông tin đó, và Willy sẽ xem và sẽ phản hồi lại anh chị. Nếu mà mình phù hợp thì mình có thể mình nộp được visa 190. We have one more question from Mr. Huy. I got a job title
business consultant. My current. So a lot of times here, we need to work with you on your reference letters, right? So, you know, whether your job title or whether it be your reference letter, whether it be your contract, we, you know, like to claim the points, we need to work with you. And that's actually, where our experience comes in, right? So very much so, we need to work with you to see what you have.
Anh Huy ơi, về cái câu hỏi của anh á, thì nếu mà công việc hiện tại của anh với cái chức danh á, nó có thể là khác với cái business analysis, thì nhưng mà cái job description á mà nó giống như vậy thì mình vẫn có thể là mình nộp theo cái diện skill. Nhưng mà một lần nữa thì Willy vẫn muốn là vẫn phải nhận được cái CV của anh chị để đánh giá một cách chính xác nhất. Thì nếu mà anh chị có CV thì anh chị vui lòng liên hệ các bạn chuyên viên tư vấn và gửi các bạn CV để Willy sẽ đánh giá cái hồ sơ của mình. Thì việc đánh giá này hoàn toàn miễn phí, nên anh chị cứ thoải mái gửi CV để cho Willy quốc vào trên cái CV đó. Như em chia sẻ lúc đầu ấy, thì NHÂN có tạo một cái nhóm trên Zalo đó, thì có cập nhật thông tin tin tức di trú cho cái ngành IT của mình ở trong cái nhóm Zalo đó. Nên nếu mà anh chị cần cập nhật những cái thông tin mà nhanh nhất, chính xác nhất từ đại diện di trú Úc thì anh chị vui lòng tham gia các nhóm đó. Bên em sẽ cập nhật thường xuyên, nói chung là tin tức sẽ cập nhật hàng tuần để anh chị có thể cập nhật được những thông tin chính xác nhất, minh bạch nhất và kịp thời nhất. Nếu mà anh chị không có câu hỏi nào khác nữa thì em xin phép là sẽ tạm dừng cái buổi hội thảo ngày hôm nay. Thì sau buổi hội thảo này thì anh chị vui lòng gửi CV về cho bên chuyên viên tư vấn thì để Willy sẽ đánh giá miễn phí hồ sơ của mình. Trước mắt là em thay mặt John Hu My Question Consulting xin được gửi lời cảm ơn một lần nữa tới anh chị đã tham gia buổi sự kiện ngày hôm nay. Willy, thank you for the time and support.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone. I think I'll just say here, you know, definitely encourage yourselves to reach out to Jimmy and his team to, you know, do the assessment, you know, join the Zalo group, please. You know, of course, you know, very much so, you know, like let your friends and, you know, any friends or colleagues know who you think is eligible to always try and explore, right? I think definitely with yours, where you guys work, the profession that you're in, you know, to have a very low cost option to go to Australia and then, you know, to get a salary increase and free education for your kids, it's a very rare opportunity. Definitely something to look, definitely something to take advantage of. Okay. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Willy. Yeah. Cảm ơn anh chị rất là nhiều nhé. Em xin kết thúc cái buổi sự kiện ngày hôm nay. Chào anh chị, chúc anh chị một buổi cuối tuần vui vẻ và hạnh phúc bên gia đình.